Okay everybody, welcome to part 3. In this tute we're going to go through mirroring the model, modeling in the cockpit and finishing off and any little last tweaks that we need to do. Now I've just expanded the viewport again. I just do that by moving my cursor to the top ortho view and hitting Control up. We're just going to now select all those faces, just half the faces down half of the model. So I can just select it like so. And I'm going to delete them once I have them selected. Now we need to do this in order to basically mirror the model. Now the advantage of this, I just hit delete, faces, I'll move up. The advantage of doing this is so that we only need to work on one half basically. We're just modeling one wing, and that's what we're doing. We don't want to have to model one wing and then turn around and model the other one. Oh, that wasn't good. Go to delete, get rid of all these faces, well one half of the plane exactly, delete, delete. I think we're nearly there. Now that tail section is quite an atrocity, but we'll just leave that, we'll get back to that later. I think now once you've modelled the actual wing, you should be able to model that. Now we've now cut the plane in half. And all we need to do now is go out of this mode by hitting Control up. Now that we're back into the standard viewports, you'll notice on the top right over here, we've got a viewport here where we can select different types of editors for us, or different types of roll downs. Now the one we're after, we've got the render layers, we've got the scene, we've got the world, we've got the object constraints. The one we're after is object modifiers. We're going to click on object modifiers and we're going to add a modifier. Mirror is the one we want. Now you'll notice straight away we've mirrored the plane if everything has gone to plan. Now if we turn around, you see we've got two sections to the plane. The good thing about this is, as I said before, if you now come in and select, for example, some vertices, like so. If I move them, it affects the other side as well. So you only have to. Notice I've selected that in shaded mode. I didn't select the verts underneath. Z mode. Z toggles to wireframe mode. Now if we move these, you'll notice it affects the other side of the plane. Now the advantage of that is obviously whatever you model halves your work basically. We're now going to go into the face mode. This section here, I know I want to extrude and make the cockpit. I just know because I just know. That's how I set it up. If I have a look in the right orthographic view, zoom into the blueprint, you'll see that these two faces are perfect to extrude up the cockpit. Let's go back to that viewport again. I'm just going to hit E for extrude, and this time I'm going to extrude on the Z axis, and hopefully it works. Oh, it did. This is marvelous when things will go to plan. I'll just spin that around. It worked quite well. Now, let's try and... Now that's good, but it is coming up quite hard. It's coming up like a clip into a gun or something. It's not smooth at all. How can we smooth that out? I'll just hit Control Z to go back one step. And I'm going to scale on the Y-axis. That's not what we want. Let's do that again. I'll hit E for extrude. Let's move it up a tiny little bit. And then I'm going to scale it on the Y-axis. And it actually insets the first extrusion. And I won't scale it on this axis because basically it'll just squish it in. So we have we've not extruded the edges we want to. We've not moved the edges that we want to. Now this is a tricky bit here. We're going to switch to edge mode and select just the edges that we want to move, want to translate. Now we can just move them in roughly like this. Now a lot of other modelers would probably scream blue murder at what I'm doing here, but we just want to get a result today. Now we move it in, we can move up. And what we've done there, we've created a little inset for our cockpit, and we've done it in a way where, let's move these individually, where we're still building a quad-shaped model, basically. It's all made out of quads. Back to faces. Select these faces now. E for extrude. Z on the keyboard, move up. It is going in a strange way, but that's okay. So we've got our two faces. If I go to the right viewport, we want to switch back to wireframe mode. And you can see now we want to be moving these vertices around. So I'm just going to select some verts here and move it right in. Because I'm in the right viewport, I think I can actually get away with selecting verts and just hitting G and just moving them. Because I'm pretty sure it's not going to move on the x-axis in this viewport. A, B, and this is the way I like to do it. G, move around. A, B, select, G to move. Now we've got our cockpit coming along quite nicely. These are the last ones we're going to move. And we're in good shape, I think. Let's rotate it around. Go back to shaded mode. Yeah, it's looking quite good. Now it is a bit fat at the top. It's sort of fanning out. Now we just want to select these edges and bring them in a bit. Now we've got the shape quite well, I think. Now, again, you can refer back to the blueprints at any time to check or look at other reference, but I think that's pretty good as a cockpit. Maybe you want to make it a little bit more distinctive. I'm just looking at it and just thinking, yeah, I want to... When you model things, sometimes you don't have to... you can be a little bit, not abstract, but indicative of the model. Do you think it might look better with a bit of a taller thing? You can. Particularly when it's going to be a small size model on screen. All right, let's continue on with this and do those back tail fins. Back wings, little wings. I don't really know what they're called, rear wings. Okay, Z. Now they're going to come out, or maybe I just want to put it back so that the Spitfire association doesn't come after me. Alright, now we're going to put a little tail fin, tail wing, rear wing in there. I should know if I'm doing this. Now I'm just going to come over here and select the area that it's going to go. We're going to do the exact same thing we did before. We're going to hit extrude, just come out a tiny fraction, and then we're going to scale it using the scale manipulator. Scale it on this axis, and scale it on this axis. Now again, there's probably a way you can do this where it stays totally planar to the original face, but we're just rocketing through this now. I now have hit the rotate manipulator, and I'm going to rotate on the green axis, which is the Y axis, and you'll notice I am trying to line it back up with its original face. Okay, top view again, this time. Let's get out of here and go back to the original orthographic views. Top view, so we match with the with our map underneath. Now this looks like a very interesting situation here. I'm just going to extrude it out. And as you can see on this viewport, it's come out in a really haphazard way. How do we fix that? We go extrude. We want to extrude it on, I hope this is going to work, on the x-axis. And there it goes. Now it's come out, basically parallel to the ground plane. Now this is an instance now, I think we're getting to the point now where people can pretty much take it from here. What I'll do is I'll just go through this, and I haven't practiced this at all. I'm just going to try and wing it, no pun intended. I'm just going to grab these verts, come over here, grab these verts, move them. These verts are quite far back. Move them back. We want obviously some more edges in here, and we can happily do that. Now that's turned out okay. I'm just going to go through this quite quickly. Control, make sure I'm in edge mode. Make sure nothing's selected. Control R. Turn it a couple of times. Only 2 will do, maybe 3. Left click. Now I'm hoping that this is the thing where you want to make sure that your tail fin is in the correct. Again, I've moved forward very quickly to do this, and I haven't been checking my other viewports. And this is a sort of a bit of a cardinal sin of modeling. Now it's in the right spot. It's in the right spot. But if I undo this, these edges here, as we can see on the left, really should be selected. Edges, faces, vertices, the whole thing really should be selected and scaled so that it matches the blueprint as closely as possible. This will again save you more time in the long run, because moving these verts now will mean I won't have to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 verts later when I come to adjust it. So again, start with the basic primitives first, and then go in and add detail. I don't know why I have the inclination to add more there, but I just did. Okay, now we're just going to go B to select these verts again, G to move them where they need to be. It's starting to work now. As you can see, the mirror is working quite well on the other side. Anything we do here is mirrored. I am doing this in wireframe mode because, in fact, I might just, because I did take the initiative to have extra edges and verts in here, I'm going to use them to do the whole thing. Just imagine that I had to build this plane entirely out of square shapes. I'm losing my track here because I'm talking and thinking at the same time. I can't do both. If we just had to make a plane out of boxes or out of hard shapes and we had no curves at all, this would be the test, if that makes sense. So I can move this to the very limit of where it's you know, going to be actually doing anything. But it's all a matter of tweaking. I'm just going to do it, or I'm not going to talk. Now these ones are really not doing much. But that's pretty successful in the end. We'll go back to shaded. So we've got our little wing. One thing I would say, just looking at that straight away, is that this is a really hard edge, which is what we talked about trying to avoid. Now there is a way to get rid of that. We could go Control R and we'll put another row right up the center, but it is going to affect the rest of the model. We're going to have a row of a total row of edges throughout the whole model if we do that. So let's not, and we'll just make it a little bit thinner, I think. Maybe we should have designed this wing so that it, I think we can get away with that. Now there's something under here that's a bit interesting. Let's undo that. This is where you get into a dangerous place where you start shifting things around and not doing them in a uniform manner. I think we can get away with that. And we'll also go back to edge mode, vertex mode, and just move it up here and move this one up here. Alright, that'll do us. Now we've got the majority of the plane done here now. There is a problem. I'm not going to do this top wing section because I want to leave that for you to do. But at the back of the plane, we've got a big gaping hole. What do we do about that? Well, we're going to go in and we're going to select the actual edges. There's a couple of ways we can do this. We could just select, let's just try this, I don't know if it'll work. We'll select all of these and hit F on the keyboard and it creates a face. But as you can see, it's actually got a concave line right down the center, which is just terrible. So what we're going to do now, this is another little trick which is very handy, is I'm going to deselect that and I'm going to hit K for knife. I'm going to cut from here to there and then click again and then hit enter. Now it's added a whole other quad in there, and I was very conscious as I created it that it was going to be a quad. I'm going to do another one here. K for knife, click, click, and what do I hit? I think I clicked it and hit enter. That's it. Now I'm just going to grab, I want to move that tail section out so it's not concave. What do? I'm just going to click on, what's the easiest thing to do is click one edge, and then simply drag it out. Now we've got the back of the plane. A bit ugly. Oh, I thought these were triangles, but they're not. They're quads, so it was mission successful. This rear section I'm looking at, again, this whole rear section I'm not doing. I'm going to leave for you to do. So that's it. There is our plane. There is our Spitfire. Okay, now again, the only thing I'm a little bit disappointed with is this rear tail fin not having another line of edges in there, and there probably is some clever way where we could have a line of edges and still keep it quads. Alright, thanks very much folks, that's the end of this modeling tutorial, low polygon modeling for Spitfire. The next modeling tutorial we will see will be unwrapping and texturing. Thank you.